Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Taylor, and today we're going to be talking about something that's a lot a bit sad, but I am finally getting enough nerve to make the video. This is something that I've wanted to make ever since it did happen to me. You guys can see by the title down below what we're going to be talking about today. Pretty much just all about miscarriage and the feeling and how I process that and just my experience in general. And the reason that I wanted to make this video is because whenever I was going through it, I came to YouTube and I was looking for other women's stories that were similar in just hopes that I can find somebody to relate to and have somebody understand me, because during that time I felt so alone, as if no one really understood me, and I just felt like I was in this isolated black hole. And I just would really want to put my story out there, and I know that the YouTube videos that I found really helped me. So if I could help just one woman out there, if you're going through this, I am so incredibly sorry. I can't even begin to just say how sorry I am. I know exactly how you feel. I've been there and I've gotten through it, and you know, you never completely get over it. There's still times where you just feel so empty and you just reminisce about what could have been, and that's completely normal. And see, I don't even know if I can get through this video without like literally. We got my little babies back here, so they're here for emotional support for their mom. Anyways, if you are going through this, I am so sorry, and you're gonna get through it. And I know you can't see it right now. I know you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but there is some light. You never get over it, you just learn to cope with it. And there's still times where you're just gonna burst out crying, months and months and maybe even years from the time that it happened, because that was a person, that was something that was gonna change your whole life and just gone in the matter of a second. And it's hard, and I just really hope that this video you can relate to me and know that you're not alone, and it's not your fault. Whatever happened is not your. So a little bit about my story. Let's start from the beginning. So I've been with my boyfriend for about a year when this happened, and I just kind of felt a little off. So I was like, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna take a pregnancy test. Like, I had taken millions before because I'm just someone who's so scared that I'm gonna be pregnant. So I just went to go take one. I actually went home on my lunch break and I took a test, and I really was expecting it to be negative. I was just like, nah, whatever, you know what I mean? And so I like was washing my hands, and then I go back, and then boom, boom, 2 lines. I took one of the first response ones, and I was like, I think I was supposed to be a day late at this time. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know how to feel. I saw the 2 lines and I was like, oh my God. And I lived with my parents at the time, and I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna tell? Like, I can't tell them. Like, I have to walk out there, I have to be normal. So my dad was home at the time, so I was like, oh my God, like, I have to act normal. So I walked out of the bathroom, I like stuck the test in my pants, and I was like, okay, well, I gotta go. Like, and he's like, oh, I thought you were gonna eat lunch. And I was like, oh no, I'm just gonna grab something. Like, I just had to use the restroom. And he was like, okay, whatever. And so I left. And so I'll insert a clip of my reaction. Like, I was freaking out. So roll that clip. Oh my God, guys. Oh my God. I can't even talk about it right now because breathe. That has to be a mistake. That has to be like a mistake. I'm lightheaded right now. Yo, I'm gonna go get more. So I went out and bought like 6 more tests because I just was not convinced that I was pregnant. Like, I was like, oh, this could be a false, this could be a false. So I went to my work, and there was I worked at a real estate office, and I asked one of the agents, I was like, is this positive? And she was like, girl, that's positive. But I remember just like freaking out and panicking. I'm telling her, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna tell, you know, my boyfriend. Like, this is just so crazy. It was like, you know, like, everything happens for a reason. Like, God has plans for you. Like, And so she just kind of talked me down out of it. And, you know, so I started feeling like, okay, like this is fine. But I was still the only one that knew about it besides her. And I think I told one of my like closest friends, shout out to you, you know who you are. I called her like freaking out. And she's actually a mutual best friend of me and my boyfriend. So I was freaking out. After that, I think it was a Thursday that I found out. And so I usually went to go see my boyfriend on the weekends, and I would stay the weekend over there, because we lived in 2 separate towns. He lived about an hour away from my town. So it was a Thursday, and I was like, oh my God, like I can't keep this from him. Like, it's really hard. So I told him, I was like, hey, because I had asked him, I was like, okay, so what if I get pregnant? Like, this was like a long time ago. I was like, if I get pregnant, like, would you want me to tell you like over text, over call, over email, over text? Do you want me to tell you in a cute way? And he was like, well, you might as well just tell me in a cute way. Like, it is what it is. Like, you might as well just make it cute. So I was like, okay. So I went to Target and I got like a little box of a little onesie that said like new adventure, or an adventure is about to begin. And then like my 6 positive pregnancy tests. And so I had to keep it a secret for that long. Well, I had given him hints. I was like, hey, there's a surprise, but I'm nervous to give it to you. And he was like, are you pregnant? And I was like, no, what the hell? Like, ew. And he was like, oh, okay, well, I don't know why you'd be nervous. Cause like I give him gifts all the time. So me giving him a gift wasn't like anything like suspicious. So I was like, oh, like, you know, I'm just really nervous to give it to you. And he was like, oh, like, you're fine, like, just give it to me. Well, apparently he was telling his buddies like, no, I think she's pregnant, like, I'm pretty sure she's pregnant. And so whenever I got there, him and his roommates were just like all chilling. I was like, hey, can I like talk to you in the other room? And he was like, oh, and like he knew. And so I was like, okay. He came in the room and I gave him the box and he was like, oh my God, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay. And like, you know, he was just trying to like react the best way that he possibly could. He was like, okay, like, it's okay. And like right when he said that, like, I lost it. I was just like, it's not gonna be okay, I'm too young, like, this is crazy. And he was like, no, everything's gonna work out, everything's gonna be okay. Like, you know, we're just jumping to conclusions. We're like, okay, we gotta get married, like, blah, 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 like, what is this? And like finally we had to take a second to kind of breathe and process it. And like, you know, I was bawling my eyes out and he was making me feel so much better about it. So I was like, okay, like, at least I know he's like really supportive about it. And just to be clear on my stance with like abortion and stuff like that, I don't personally believe in it. I believe if you're gonna make the choice to have, you know, sex, then be prepared for what happens when you have sex. So abortion never went through my mind. I mean, I definitely thought I wasn't ready for a kid, but you know, so what, grow up, do what you got to do. Time passes, and that following weekend I was like, okay, like, we have to tell my parents. Like, I still lived with them at the time, so I was there Monday through Friday with them, and I was there in the weekends with my boyfriend. So me and my boyfriend were supposed to tell my parents that following weekend. And like me, I cannot keep things from my parents. Like, it is so hard for me to lie to them and like have, especially me being pregnant, like just the weight of that on my shoulders. I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't know if I need to be going to a doctor like right away. Like, I didn't know what to do. And so whenever that happened, I turned to YouTube and just trying to see where other people were at whenever they were going through this. I was 18 years old. I'm still 18, but like, I was so young, and I still am so young, and I just didn't know. And so this one night I was like, I can't do it. I was texting my boyfriend. I was like, I can't do it. I have to tell them. Like, maybe it's better for me to tell them so I can like warm them up to the idea, and then you can come over and then you can talk to them. So he was like, okay, like, tell them whatever you feel is right. And I was like, okay. So then I tell them, and like I sit down and my mom's like, you're pregnant. And I was like, yes. And like, so with me like dealing with those kind of situations, it was very like, I laugh in the situations that I should not be laughing at. So like, my dad's like, why do you think this is funny? This isn't funny. I was like, I know it's not funny, but like, I literally do not know how to cope with this. Like, I've already processed it myself, so I knew I had to let them process it. And so you know, telling them was like a weight off my shoulders. You know, they told me they loved me, and you know, that just give them some time and they'll come around to it. Well, eventually we told his parents. They took it okay, I guess. Yeah, I think with me though, I had this fear constantly that I was gonna miscarry, and for some reason I was like, we're not telling anybody until this baby comes out. Like, we're gonna pull a Kylie Jenner, okay? And you know, we're not telling anybody besides our family. And so that's really what I was wanting, and I was just terrified of miscarrying. And I'll insert clips of me vlogging when this was happening and saying like, oh, I just really don't want to miscarry. Like, I can't even begin to imagine like what that'll be like. And so I'll insert that.
No, I'm only 4 weeks, so I'm just getting started. But I have a lot of fears, and the fact that, you know, we're still in the very early ages of pregnancy, and I hope that now that I have this baby, you know, it sticks around and it doesn't go anywhere because I'm already attached. So you better stick around, kid, because I just can't even imagine.
I was really excited. I started getting really excited. We went to a couple ultrasounds. We heard the heartbeat. Everything was going really great. The heartbeat was at 150 a week before I miscarried. Not even a couple days before I miscarried. I had gone to the restroom and I started bleeding, and I was like, okay, like this isn't normal, but I've known that, and I've just had this fear, like this constant fear that I was gonna miscarry. So I thought, obviously, okay, I'm gonna miscarry. Like, this is it. This is it. And so I walked out of the room and I was like, Mom, like I'm bleeding, like I need to go to the hospital, like I'm miscarrying. She's like, you can't think of it like that, like, you know, sometimes it's normal for women to bleed when they're pregnant. And I was like, no, like this is like, I'm miscarrying. I know for a fact, like I was bleeding a lot. And so I actually ended up going to the emergency room, where I found out that I have a negative blood type. I have a negative blood type. And so I had to get the Rogaine shot, and that's when they confirmed. They're like, yes, you're miscarrying. And so like a part of me, like I knew I was miscarrying, but then of course there's always that slim part of you that's like, no, like there's a miracle. God's gonna pull a miracle. God wouldn't give me this blessing if he was just gonna take it away from me. And for the longest time, that's how I felt about it. And it's a total normal feeling. And for all my, you know, God believers and Jesus believers out there, like it's a completely normal feeling to just doubt and be like, why? Like, why would you give me this and then just take it away like that? I remember feeling so sad. And like, I knew I wasn't ready for a baby. I knew that. But just the fact that like I was gonna get ready. My parents had just finally accepted it. And I had finally just accepted it. And it's just gone. Everything, you know, like everything we planned for was gone. And my boyfriend at the time was out of state for some training for his job. And he had come back that night, and he was on a plane when all this was happening. So I was kind of by myself, like emotionally. And so when he like texted me like, oh hey, I landed, I was like, hey, like the baby's gone. There's no heartbeat. Oh no. Sorry. So then I had you know, he was like, okay, like I'm on my way. Like he got home from the airport and drove straight over to my house, and just I didn't sleep that night. I just cried, and I held onto a picture of the ultrasound, and I was around 10 weeks. The baby stopped growing literally a couple days ago because I had the ultrasound. And so so I just like held the ultrasound all night long, and I didn't let go of it for a couple days. It was really hard. It was like definitely, I have not dealt with a lot of death in my family. So actually having one of my big first deaths be my child was really, really hard. And we didn't know if it was a boy or a girl, so that kind of hurts. But like, I had this like internal feeling that it was a girl. And so the days following, I was going to go back to work. But I couldn't. I could not go back to work. It hurt. It hurt way too much. I ended up leaving work that day and filming. I'll show you a clip of literally the day after I had miscarried. I filmed this video because I had gone into work. And I filmed it, and this is completely raw and unedited and just completely me and what I was going through.
This sliver of hope that tomorrow, the next day, whenever I go to the doctors, there will be a heartbeat and the baby will be fine. And I got the shot and everything was gonna be okay. But then in the morning, I went to the bathroom and the baby came out of me. The baby came out of me. And out like that, it was all over. It was all over. There's no baby inside of me and I feel so empty. That was supposed to be my purpose. That was my baby and it was gonna be mine. And now it's all gone and I know they're in a better place and I know God needed him or her way more than we needed him or her. But that was supposed to be my purpose. I was gonna live and breathe for this being and do absolutely anything for this. And now it's all gone. And I don't know if I'm gonna be okay. I just keep looking at the ultrasound and being so confused. Like, you were okay. You had a heartbeat and everything. And why didn't I know my blood type? Why wasn't I aware? Why? I should have been more aware, and I keep putting this blame and this guilt on myself because I feel like I could have done something to prevent this, and I could have given him a healthy baby and a healthy grandbaby, and I just gave all this false hope to everybody. And now they're gone. He's gone, and I have someone looking over me now, but that was my baby. That was mine. It was in my belly, and it was supposed to be safe in there. It was supposed to grow and be so safe, and it was supposed to come out this healthy, perfect baby, and I was gonna take care of it. But it just didn't stick. I never, ever in 10 million years thought this would ever happen to me.
And I've really been wanting to get this out and really show you that you guys aren't alone if you're going through this. And it's the worst feeling on the planet. It's the worst feeling on this planet because all you can think about is like what could have been and like what could have happened. And so cry it out. Don't try to suppress it. Don't try to act like everything is okay. Just let all your emotions out and let you grieve. You need to grieve because I don't care how far along you were, whether you're you just found out, you just got that positive pregnancy test and then just started bleeding or whatever it is, just take time to grieve, because that was a life. That was a life. That was a life. So no matter how small, like Dr. Seuss, a person's a person, no matter how small. So just know that, whether they're the size of a little rice or a little grain of salt or the size of apricot, it's life. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me today during this emotional video. Again, I really just wanted to make this video just to make sure that people know that they're not alone, okay? Like, you're not alone, and if anybody out there is going through this right now and really needs somebody to talk to who understands, I am always here. Message me. I would love to just listen and be there for you. This channel is really just gonna be about life, family, and just a message board to get out to people. So I really hope that it reached out to some of you today. Don't forget to like and share this video. Don't forget to click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way you get notified every time I post a video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.